Hey guys, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss Season 1 of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the new Netflix series, starring Kiernan Shipka, Ross Lynch, Chance, I forget his name. He plays Ambrose, Cousin Ambrose. A bunch of other people are in this. Now, why this series is epic is because Greg Bertelli is the executive producer. He's the executive producer of Riverdale, which is a kick-ass show. Greg did Love, Simon, which is a kick-ass movie. So Greg knows how to handle teenage drama adventures with a dash of comedy thrown in. So there was a lot of speculation with the announcement of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina a year or two ago because everyone, with nostalgia purposes, were like, oh, you can't reboot Sabrina the Teenage Witch without Melissa Joan Hart in the original cast. And, like, I get it. Like, I watched that series back in the 90s and early 2000s when it was a thing. But this series, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, is based more on the comics, the darker aspect of the Archie comics. So, you know, with watching Riverdale, they mention Greendale a lot. And then with watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, they mention Riverdale a lot. So there's bound to be a crossover at some point, whether it's a Netflix film, whether it's a Netflix TV series crossover event. It'd be very entertaining because now we have these different supernatural creatures thrown into the Riverdale, Greendale universe, right? I personally would have just called the show Greendale because you have Riverdale, right? And then if you just call this show Greendale, it just makes sense to keep the Dales together, right? Because now you have Riverdale and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I get it, Sabrina's the main character, but Riverdale's not called The Adventures of Archie, right? It's just not what it is. I personally would have just called this show Greendale because it's not just Sabrina's story. It's a lot about the mortals. It's a lot about the witch coven in general of Greendale. It's a lot of Greendale history, hundreds of years worth of Greendale history, from witch hunting to settlers to conspiracies to cover-ups, the whole nine. So it's a very interesting story that's only 10 episodes long, and thankfully there's already a season 2 slated and many more to come. But I think it's very entertaining seeing Kiernan play Sabrina because Kiernan, those of us who have watched Mad Men know her as a child actress. She was, you know, John Hamm's daughter, grew up to be a rebellious daughter, but she still played an amazing character. She was the voice of Janora in Legend of Korra. So we know she can do these things. We know her acting and voice capabilities. She's also an amazing singer, which she gets to showcase in some little choir aspects of the Church of Satan. So it's great seeing her do this role because it's something we haven't seen her do before. Ross Lynch, everyone knows Ross from Austin and Ally. He was in the band R5 with his family and then one friend. He was in the two Teen Beach movies on the Disney Channel. Ross has done a lot of stuff. So to see him do this now dark adventure series, which is fun because he was young Jeffrey Dahmer in My Friend Dahmer, which wasn't a theatrical release, and I still don't understand why. And I still haven't seen that movie, but Ross has great acting abilities. Ross has a great voice. His projection is amazing. He's believable. So to have him play Harvey Kinkle, boyfriend and friend of Sabrina Spellman, it's very nice seeing. It was nice seeing a different take on the two aunts, Hilda and Zelda. It was great seeing her cousin Ambrose into the mix. It was great seeing the different dynamic that all of these different witches and warlocks had with each other. Who's friends with who's sleeping with who when. Great. It was a fierce, well put together story that was engaging. There were so many times where I would just be like so much devil worshipping, so much pulls on Wicca, but with Wiccan and satanic worship is different. The Church of Satan and Wiccan is different. And a lot of people understand that. They didn't really talk about that much, but I'm very curious if the Church of Satan released a statement in regards to the portrayal of their church within this series, because I know they had something to say when American Horror Story Season 8 portrayed something wrong. And they're like, yeah, no, that's not how we would handle things. That's not what we would do. So it was interesting having the, you know, the defense on both sides. So it was fun seeing, you know, them call the one true God the unholy God, and that, you know, the Dark Lord is the true Lord. It's fun seeing another religion played into effect on a witch scale, on a spell casting scale. So it was fun seeing the difference, because you see all these different religions all over the place in different forms of media, but you don't really see that much of Church of Satan. So to see Church of Satan represented, again, I don't know how accurately, but it was explained enough throughout the purpose of retelling these stories. So I don't know. I don't know how well they did with that, but it made sense how they explained things. I love that one of my biggest things about this series, again, 10 episodes long for season 1. We're going to get 10 episodes more next year as well for season 2. But the full spectrum of the LGBTQ community was represented. Every single letter of that acronym was represented in one character or another in this show. And I am so impressed with Greg for doing that. But I'm also not surprised, because it's Greg. You know, Greg is very modern. He's very progressive. He's very up to date. He knows where the future is going with the youth. So to have the LGBTQ community represented within a full spectrum of Greendale residents, both mortal and immortal, on the witch front, very smart, because he knows the core audience. The core audience is going to be teenagers watching this series, right? This is the next fandom thing. It was interesting because when season 3 of Stranger Things was announced, they had this past Friday, the 26th of October, slated for season 3, but they extended filming into 2019 for a summer 2019 release, and they gave Sabrina the Friday before Halloween slot, because that's what Stranger Things season 2 had last year. 2017, we're in 2018, yeah. Stranger Things season 2 had the Friday before Halloween, and it was a massive, massive critical success because of that timeline, because of the horrorness of it, because of the supernaturalness of it. So to give Sabrina the Friday before it, very smart as well. So I hope, and I know, well, no, I can't say I know. I hope that they're going to do the same thing next year, because it's really working well with the Halloween spooky aspect, and Sabrina's dark baptism was her 16th birthday, which fell on a Friday for October 31st under a blood moon. It's just so beautifully poetic when it comes to these supernatural myths coming together. What is a myth? A myth is a story. Beautiful mythology within this series. Another thing that I liked is that it didn't feel like you were watching a retelling of Sabrina the Teenage Witch starring Melissa Joan Hart. It felt more on the Riverdale front of how, you know, that is filmed, which makes sense because it's from the same producers. It also felt like I was watching Teen Wolf and Buffy the Vampire Slayer combined together with the supernatural demonology aspect. And to have, I can't remember his name, but for those of you who've seen Teen Wolf and who have seen Sabrina the Teenage, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Harvey Kinkle's grandfather, so Ross Lynch's grandfather in Sabrina, is played by the same actor who played Gerard Argent in Teen Wolf, who was a supernatural wolf hunter, right? And here he is playing a witch hunter in Sabrina. So I had a good laugh at that, and you know damn well he got a good laugh at that too when he got casted. And those of us who are watching this and who are familiar with both fandoms have a great laugh at that too, because it's like, oh, he went from one supernatural hunter to another supernatural hunter. It's entertaining. I had a good laugh. I see what you did there, Greg. Very, very smart. So, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, the brand new Netflix amazing supernatural series. What did you think? Did you pick out all those little things that I just mentioned? You probably didn't. But if you did, I want to know. I want to know when you figured all these things out. Are you excited for season 2? I'm very excited for season 2. I'm very excited for a crossover event between Riverdale and Greendale. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. That's it. Join the discussion down below, guys. I want to hear your thoughts, inputs, questions, comments, concerns. Have a great Halloween. Mucho mahalo, guys.